Today in Canberra, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, they were the subject of some questioning by Senator Gerard Rennick and Senator Malcolm Roberts. Of course, Senator Rennick from the Liberal Party and Senator Malcolm Roberts from Pauline Hanson's One Nation. Their questioning was targeted to the TGA about some FOI applications and having a look at what is actually in the PFIZER product. So this stream is to bring you a little bit about what happened today in Canberra with those exact questions put to the TGA. Let's have a look.
Senator Rennick, you have the call.
Hi guys. At the last set of estimates, I put a question on notice that asked for evidence and results of safety testing in regards to commercially produced batches. I note recently there was a release, FOI, Freedom of Information 44558, that also asked for the data of the batches. And in your answer to my response was a link that had no actual data in it. And I note that the FOI for 4558 was 70 pages of blanked out data. Can we get the batch information that was asked in this FOI that shows what was in the batches and the batch testing, please?
Thank you, Senator. Can I just clarify which question on notice you're talking to? Just so I can be sure.
That. So it was SQ 22-000539. Question on notice 170, question 56. It's quite a mouthful there.
It is, and Senator, I appreciate the irony, but I might have to take that on notice. That does predate my arrival.
That's fine, but what I want is a commitment from you to be completely transparent about what was in those batches.
I will give you a commitment to be as transparent as I can within the constraints of our freedom of information requirements.
Okay, so yet again, this shouldn't be commercial in confidence, because I know that's what it's going to come back as, because this is what's in those batches. Okay, people were forced to take this vaccine, and we need to know, and they've got a right to know, that the TGA has evidence of doing the safety testing, which I'm sure you did to the best of your ability, and then what that testing did. So I'll leave that as that.
I appreciate
we'll wait
that.
And see what we get.
I appreciate that, Senator. I mean, we did have a conversation, a previous inquiry about whether people were or were not forced to take vaccination, but I understand the importance of the question, and I hope you'd understand that I can only comply with.
So Senator Malcolm Roberts from Pauline Hanson One Nation, he also made an FOI application, and he put that question about his response regarding the FOI application sent back to him to the TGA. Let's have a look.
Okay, so let's move on. What's in the injections? Turning to the fundamental question that's never been answered by your department, what is in the products marketed as vaccines? Freedom of Information request. FOI 4558 asked the TGA for a copy of the laboratory analysis of the PFIZER BioNTech jabs. The FOI was returned 100% redacted. There's the first page, second page, third page, fourth page, it's the same. Fifth page, oh, we've got a bit of writing on there. Sixth page, another bit of writing. Seventh page, eighth page, nothing.
Senator Roberts, we are short on time and the use of props is not really allowed.
Might as well be put in the bin. We asked the TGA for a copy of the laboratory analysis. The FOI was returned 100% redacted. No information relating to date, how many batches this covers, who conducted the analysis, let alone what it actually found. Hiding, cover-up and adulteration. Minister, the composition of the vaccines has been publicly revealed. The TGA places a summary of that information on their website. They only tell us the summary of what is supposed to be in it. And I can see a few people smiling down the back. So when you're asked for the lab report that substantiates the TGA information, you redact it. Are you spreading misinformation about what's in the jabs? What is this redaction hiding? What is this redaction hiding?
Senator, thanks for the question. As I did indicate to Senator Rennick previously, one of the things that we are bound by is freedom of information legislation. We are constrained in some respects as to what we're able to provide. For some reasons that's commercial in confidence, and there are other reasons as well. We have endeavoured to comply with requests to the best of our ability.
Now, Senator Malcolm Roberts also went on from that questioning, as you can see, that he wasn't going to get an answer from the TGA. So he moved on and structured his questioning around, well, I guess, the excess deaths. Let's have a look.
We have 10,000 confirmed excess deaths, possibly as high as 20,000. And by the way, Professor Kelly, I want to say to Mr. Gould that if you have a look at the back of the notes on the back of that graph, they'll explain that we used exactly what Mr. Gould was talking about. So I did not state that clearly. I was wrong. I made a mistake. But we have followed the ABS. But no one seems to be concerned about this. Who paid for those injections? 26 million Australians paid for those things, and they can't get an explanation of what was forced into their arm.
Well, for a start, nothing was forced into anybody's
When it's
arm.
a choice between feeding a damn child and keeping your
Senator
job.
Roberts.
So, Katie Gallagher, let me refresh you about your claim or rebuttal that nobody was forced to get this product in their arm.
Well, for a start, nothing was forced into anybody's
When it's a choice.
A new COVID app to enforce tough, fresh COVID rules. From January 31, proof of vaccination will be expanded throughout Western Australia.
Life will become very difficult for the unvaccinated from January 31. Visitors to public and private hospitals and aged care facilities. All hospitality venues, indoor entertainment venues, bottle shops, the entire Crown Perth complex. Major stadiums, gyms, fitness centres and health studios. I expect these requirements will be in place for years to come.
If you make the judgment to not get vaccinated and you reckon you can wait out us or whoever you want to think you're waiting out, you won't wait out the virus, because the virus will be here for a long time. This will be well into 2022, well and truly into 2022. Then we're going to get into booster issue, so it won't be your first and second dose, it'll be have you had your third.
If you are anti-mandate, you are absolutely anti-vax. I don't care what your personal vaccination status is. Your personal vaccination status is utterly irrelevant. If you campaign against the mandate, and if you are out there in any way, shape or form campaigning against this mandate, you are absolutely anti-vax. Stuff it, shove it. We are absolutely going to make sure as many Territorians as possible are vaccinated.
Well, for a start, nothing was forced.
So it certainly looks like, Katie Gallagher, your definition and understanding of nothing was forced into people's arms differs very much from what you've just seen then. The Australian people have seen through this. They know what the governments, both state and federal, have done. And let's continue having a look at the rest of this questioning from Senator Malcolm Roberts to the TGA.
Forced into anybody's
When it's a choice.
But the way out of this, it's vaccination. That's the key. So why is construction having to go and get the jab? Why is vaccination compulsory in the construction industry?
Any questions?
Minister, can we clarify with regard to the vaccine requirements now then? So no vaccine proof required for entry to public venues, but the workplace mandates are still in place. So at a pub, for instance, a member of the public can now go to the pub unvaccinated, but the staff there have to have 3 doses, is that right?
Employment mandates are still in place, that's right, but to enter one of those facilities as a customer, if you like, you don't have to show your proof of vaccination.
What's the rationale behind keeping the workplace mandates if the vaccination booster rate is high enough that it's not necessary for public proof of entry?
Well, it's still an important measure to increase our vaccination rates, and we've still got a bit of way to go with the 3rd dose. It's exceptionally high, but we do want to get it even higher.
Is it a way of punishing the unvaccinated?
Life will become very difficult for the unvaccinated.
Absolutely not, because the unvaccinated now have access to all of the other facilities that they weren't able to access before when they weren't vaccinated.
But they don't have access to work.
I think it's important to make the point that these mandates have been one of the one of the pillars of our success.
So there we go. And as one of the comments has just come forward, without informed consent, there certainly was coercion. Now, Senator Malcolm Roberts did go on a little bit more with that, but it was just going around in circles, and I'm just seeking to bring you the main particular points. Now, just to show you how this actually went up, I watched this for most of the day today to see, now both with Senator Rennick and also Senator Malcolm Roberts, and of course the other minor parties and the independents are entitled to ask those at Senate estimates particular questions. But the chair, in my view, did everything she possibly could to call on this line of questioning from Senator Rennick and also Senator Roberts at the very last point of the end of the day. In fact, which is not in this package which I'm about to bring you, but there were people in the room that needed to go and catch planes, and she brought them on to essentially give them limited time in which to answer and respond. So to get an idea, I'm going to end the stream and just show you of how Senator Malcolm Roberts' questioning ended up, and you can see what's at play here, and you decide your view if the chair and the Senate estimates, which is really the opportunity to get down and drill to these non-elected government bureaucrats for them to explain the decisions that they have made. Let's have a look.
26 million Australians paid for those things, and they can't get an explanation of what was forced into their arm.
Well, for a start, nothing was forced into anybody's
When it's a choice between feeding a damn child and keeping a job, that's force.
Answering your question, and we are due to rotate.
Look, I think, you know, we've had a lot of discussion about this over...
but we haven't got any answers, Minister.
Well, I think we have provided answers where we're in a position to Senator Roberts. I accept it's not to your satisfaction, but the national vaccine rollout during the national or an international pandemic was an important part of keeping vulnerable Australians safe, and it saved many lives. I know you disagree with that,
the data says
but
so.
no, well, I don't accept the data does say that, so we have a fundamental disagreement on that.
Senator Roberts, we do need to rotate the call for the final few minutes. Can I ask where you're at?
I'm about a third of the way through my questions.
Okay, we're going to have a private meeting in the dinner break to resolve issues related to the program. So we'll do that at the dinner break, or we can go to the dinner break early and have that meeting now. Okay. So the committee will now suspend for the dinner break, resuming at 7:45.
Thank you.
Senator Russ is on her way up.
So there you go. That private meeting, these questions that Senator Rennick and also Senator Malcolm Roberts, they had tabled this. The TGA had prior warning it was scheduled on the agenda, but the chairs, in my view, she wanted to do everything she could, as I've already said, to ensure that there was limited opportunity. As you heard Malcolm Roberts then say that he was about 1/3 of the way through his questionings. That private meeting was simply a way to circle the wagons and ensure that, that Senator Roberts did not get the opportunity to get the other 2/3 of his questionings. As always, and I can see your comments coming through, thank you very much for your comments. And if you found that this proceedings, which again I'll say today, this happened in Canberra today, Senate estimates, mainstream media will not bring you packages like this. That should be very, very clear now. In fact, the nightly news, which again I watch a lot of these so that you don't, it talked about, they did mention Senate estimates today, but it was the new Reserve Bank governor who was answering questions about the interest rate hikes and the likely of those to be occurring before Christmas. That's the extent of it, because that's an easy narrative for mainstream media to cover. Of course, in my view, leading up to the Voice referendum, rates were put on hold because that was convenient for the government to certainly, well, it was more palatable for those that were about to go to the election booths and cast their ballot on the referendum. You certainly wouldn't have wanted to put any more pressure on Albanese's voice by having people going to the polling booths, having known that the Reserve Bank have just put up interest rates some 2 weeks ago. They've pressed pause, interest rates will go up. That's what mainstream media are talking about. They're not talking about the excess deaths and in addition the why the TGA product information is being so heavily redacted. As you've heard, both senators say the Australian public, that's you, you're entitled to know this information. So thank you for your comments, and I ask, as always, please give this stream a like and a share. It's simply, it's what puts the fuel in the tank so that we can keep doing more, and it's the only way that we can try and compete with the algorithm to get messages like this, or content that those may not even be aware of what's actually occurring today in Canberra, that they can get some insight as to the type of questioning that's happening. So thank you very much, and wherever you are, enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.
Brought to you by Freedom Media WA, where